How's it going, my truant people? DrSlaking, the Slacking Doctor, back with episode 2 of Draft League Icons, as today we watch my good friend Strompfel take on another good friend of mine in Rockyrolo. Now, if you guys like this series, it is coming out on the 1st of every month, so long as we hit 15 likes on every video, so make sure you hit the like on this one to make sure you get episode 3 on the 1st of next month. I know a month is a long time to wait, and some of you guys want them more regularly, but I want to keep this series kind of restricted to classics only. I don't just want good games, I want the cream of the crop games. I want the best games I have ever seen in this series. So, from one BFO member last month in Checkmate Ben to another one in Eric Strompfel this time. I want to give this quick disclaimer before we get into this. As I said, Rob and Eric, or Strompfel and Rockyrolo, are two of my very, very good friends, so I will likely slip into calling them by their real names rather than any usernames. So I want to make it very clear. Rob begins with R. Rockyrolo begins with R. That's who that is. Eric doesn't begin with S, but still, this is Eric, okay? Let's make this abundantly clear. Eric, BFO member, Strompfel on my side. Rob, Rockyrolo, both begin with R on the other side. Hopefully that's clear. I don't know if it is. I'm going to try and call them by their screen names anyway to make it less confusing, but I wanted to clear any confusion up there. Do you think we're zoomed in enough? Do we want to zoom in more? Ooh. Can we keep zooming? How much should we zoom, lads? Oh, that's too much zoom. That's too much zoom. We want to be able to see the chat a little bit, although my head's going to be blocking. I might have to duck for certain chat things, but we'll figure that out as we go. Right. I was prefer on dark. So I haven't rewatched this game since the time that it aired, you know what I mean, since the time it was played many, many moons ago. I believe this was season 3 of Owl. So season 1 of Owl never finished, but at that point, Team Slask, TS here for Strompfel, were in the lead at that time. But then, season 2, we finished the first season of Owl ever, and Team Slask won it. That's the all-Swedish team of Eric, Isaac, and Oscar. They won it season 2. So season 3, they're the reigning champions. They would have been champions in season 1, it looked likely. They're the team to beat. And Rob here is playing for, I want to say Dry Attack, I think was his team name there, with Checkmate Ben and Tony. And they were kind of the big challenges that season. And then this actually wasn't the finals game, but the final was between these two teams. This was when they met in the regular season. So this is kind of a warm-up for the final to be in the future. Eric is, in my opinion, some of you guys won't know Strompfel that well, and he might not thank me for saying this because he likes to keep a relatively low profile since he went into semi-retirement. In my opinion, is one of the best draft league players, not just in this community, but I believe in the world, in any community. I think if this man wanted to play in the likes of DPL and things like that, I think people would rate him up there with Gypsy King, Zazo, all of those guys that people put on a pedestal. I honestly, truly believe if Strompfel was still involved in Mons as much as them, he would be considered one of the greatest of all time. I wholeheartedly believe that. I think he's a phenomenal player. Rob, also a very good player, not quite as consistent, and Rob would say this himself. Rob reminds me of myself a little bit, in that on his day, he can be any player he wants. But he doesn't always have his day. You never know what you're going to get with Rob. Really reminds me of me. When he turns up, he's so hard to play against. So that's a little bit of background for you. Now, this is a Gen 7 draft league. So that means that this is a Mega Kangaskhan. And this is a Mega Diancie. It also means that Pursuit is legal, Hidden Power is legal, and you can see here from the item slots on every Mon bar and Aegislash, to keep Aegislash balanced, it wasn't allowed an item. Now, it also wasn't super expensive, because, spoilers, itemless Pokemon are terrible. I don't know why it's a spoiler, but it is. So, yeah, it's kind of balanced out in that way that, yes, he has this broken-looking team on paper, but it's itemless AG, which is a lot worse than it would be otherwise. So yeah, that's the kind of thing. Looking at team preview here, Dugtrio has a phenomenal matchup. It can trap Mega Diancie and basically just guarantee a KO on that thing. It'll be faster than it. It's always going to kill it if it's invested right and built correctly. So yeah, basically Mega Diancie is restricted to 1 KO in this game unless it's a Rock Polish set, and even then potential Sash Dougie can revenge it. But it's pretty restricted to just 1 KO and then revenged. Infernape, if it isn't Shed Shell, potentially is very trappable by Dougie. You can build Dougie in a way to take kind of a Mac Wave, a Mac Punch, or a Vacuum Wave. So yeah, that thing looks horrifying. Necrozma on the flip side, there's no Dark type on Rob's 6 here, so this is just like a mono stored power set, like Calm Mind, Iron Defense, stored power. he needs Toxic or he's going to lose to Necrozma as well. So there's some interesting things. Suicune, again, can kind of break through. There's nothing here that really threatens Suicune too much apart from the Togedemaru, which most people sleep on. Rob does not sleep on his Togedemaru. So I haven't rewatched this game. I'm going to be watching it with you guys now. We're going to see what happens. I remember it being very good. So we see lead Diancie. As I say, it's restricted to 1 KO more or less in this game. He obviously just wants to get that as early as possible. We see a hidden power steal, I think, coming out from the Latias here, or Latias, sorry, on the rocks. This could be a speed tie. It's worth noting, both 110 base speed, topping out at 350. So it's interesting. It's obviously not Scarf because it's Life Orb. Is potentially Strompfel's Mega Diancie not max speed? Was he being aggressive with the speed creep, or has Rob just won the speed tie? The next speed tie could be really interesting because if this is a Moonblast into the Latias, that's going to do a whole lot. But if he gets the Hidden Power Steal / any other move he wants to click now off first, then he might pick up the KO. I don't know the calc on a Latias Hidden Power Steal with Life Orb as to whether that would reveal whether this was a bit slower with some bulk investment or not, maybe. I don't know. Might not be max attack as well. But an interesting turn one as Eric prioritizes, or Strompfel prioritizes rocks. He's then going to switch into the Aegislash. And we see the defog from Lati. So already turn 2, Rob is in a phenomenal position. That Mega Diancie that could only get 1 KO in this game is at 8%. It's not switching in on anything ever. It only comes in to revenge kill something, and then it's as good as dead. It has to choose between getting its rocks up now or getting a KO, and Rob's got his defog off. So this is just a phenomenal position where Eric really expected Rob to want to preserve his Latias and maybe go into something like Togedemaru on a Moonblast. And Eric played the aggressive play, getting his rocks up. Rob's called that and just obliterated the Mega Diancie turn 1. So outcomes, I think it's a Mega Kangaskhan on the Aegislash, and Eric Strompfel with the fire double straight back into Mega Diancie. He's saying, I'm having my rocks in this game. One way or another, I'm having my rocks in this game. So it's whether here he wants those rocks that badly, or whether he just says, actually, I'm going to get the most out of my Mega Diancie I can and get an early turn 3 big hit off on the Mega Kangaskhan. Now, if this thing's fake out, the Mega Diancie's dead anyway. It can't be Sucker Punch because potentially he could get his rocks up on the Sucker Punch, so... Oh, I forgot about that play. Whew. As Rob says, I think you brought in your Mega Diancie because you really want rocks. And I don't think you're going to Moonblast into my Kangaskhan. I think you're going to get your rocks up again. And he goes into the Gardevoir to trace the Mega Diancie's Magic Bounce and bounce the rocks back. I don't even think Rob cares that much about rocks in this game. The Golisopod, yeah, that doesn't want them up. Yeah, he does, actually, he does. Rob's basically saying, look, I need my Golisopod to be healthy. It's really great for the Necrozma with First Impression, Aqua Jet for the Infernape. I can see why he's saving it, actually. Rob is basically saying, look, if Golisopod's fantastic against your team, I also don't want everything getting chipped down with rocks. Potential Sash on Dugtrio or Togedemaru. And he calls the Stealth Rock from Eric again. If Eric had just Moonblasted there, that would have been tough. Now, if this is Scarf Gardevoir, he would have tanked the Moonblast and then been able to pick up big damage on something. But let's say it had been like he'd pivoted Aegislash on a Moonblast, that would have been tough. I guess he would have gone for the Scarf Shadow Ball, which Eric couldn't, or Strompfel couldn't switch into that well. So he has a mid ground where he can take the Moonblast and still exert offensive pressure. But it's such a flex play to get the rocks bounce back and say to Eric, like, you're not having these rocks. As he reveals not to be Scarf. So, brave play for Eric to stay in a sense, because if he's Scarf, he's dead. But when you actually stop and analyze it, he's got no defog on his team. He was relying on Magic Bounce to stop hazards going up against him. So this Diancie's dead if he switches out. It was clearly just a dedicated HO lead type Diancie with Rocks Endeavor. So... you can see the chat behind me as well, or you can see it over my head. You can see me as well, Rob, mate, steady on now. Holy fucking shit, like, we were all just like, Rob, do you mind? Like, 5 turns it in, going crazy in this game. But Eric or Strompfel with a great play, getting the Endeavor off on the Gardevoir. So now, it's not gone too badly for Strompfel. Sure, rocks are up against him, and he's lost his Mega Diancie, but he has almost taken out a Gardevoir. So, swings and roundabouts, really. Out comes the Suicune. If it's max speed, it's going to be able to outspeed even a max speed Gardevoir. So this gives some indication of the type of set that Strompfel was probably running here. It's probably got some speed on it. The fact he was so confident. I don't know what was this. I don't know. People are arguing about stuff. I don't know. You can see the power opponent. I guess it's not Mega Kang there because I think it's first turn Mega. I guess it's not Mega Kang. What was his Mega then? Interesting. He's just regular Kang. Because I'm pretty sure it's first turn Mega, so that's interesting. As he trades the Toxic on the Kangaskhan for the Power-Up Punch, can now basically do Suicune things with the Suicune. As Rob predicts the Aegislash switch here, of course, Kangaskhan does get scrappy, so it would be able to hit the Aegislash with a normal type move. But the Aegislash being part Steel type means it's a waste of a move anyway. So here, Strompfel makes a play into Kieran as Rob reveals the rest. Interesting play to me here. I don't know if he needed to... I don't know. I don't know if either of them needs to do that. And then he sacks the Kangaskhan to the Draco Meteor. He doesn't really have a great switch in. TOGEDEMARU maybe could do it, but that's about it. Again, this to me, this is a duality of Rob. I really don't get why he rested on the Suicune, why he didn't keep applying offensive pressure. To me, like, maybe he was predicting a sub, and so he just wanted to get healthy. But I think he had so many turns left to do that with Toxic Chip that he didn't need to do it this early. And then he just ends up having to sack to the Kieran. And this to me, like, we've seen sort of 8 turns of Rob going crazy to 8 turns of Rob being crazy. And it's like, or to 2 turns of Rob being crazy. Yeah, it's the duality of Rob to me. I don't get that play. But anyway, it puts Strompfel back in a good position as he manages to pick up the KO on the Kangaskhan there. Exert some offensive pressure again. TOGEDEMARU, the threat comes back out. I imagine we're just going to see a U-turn here to keep up momentum more than likely. Could be a Nuzzle. We see the Nuzzle play, good play. Slows down this and he can U-turn out after. Or he can try and flinch it down like a disgusting man. That is gross. Shadow Claw pops off, does a chunk to the TOGEDEMARU, and now Shadow Sneak will threaten it. As he goes straight into the Dugtrio. Let me see, wait, Shadow Claw was eject button. I didn't even clock that, so let's go back a turn. So that's so fire. The reason he stays in here to Iron Head to flinch through is he knows that this Aegislash didn't get close combat, remember, back here. It did get Sacred Sword, but I don't know... Yeah, Sacred Sword, but I don't know if it would KO. But he's got the tech on deck with the eject button, TOGEDEMARU, out into the Dugtrio to trap this thing with the Arena Trap. Now, that's how it looks. That's what Rob is saying right now. Rob is saying, I've just ran this phenomenal eject button tech to get in my Dugtrio to trap your Aegislash. You are trapped. Now, some of you will know, not all of you will know, that you can't trap ghost types. That Arena Trap doesn't affect ghost types. I didn't know this watching this. I didn't know that yet. This is where I learned that mechanic. This is itemless Aegislash, so it cannot be Shed Shell, right? So we're all sitting there like, oh my god, eject button tech into trap with Dougie? Fire. Fire tech. Like, so good. It gets better. Eric, being a good player, or Strompfel being a good player, knows that his Aegislash isn't trapped. He goes to switch it out and gets Pursuit trapped. The level of big brain in this to bring eject button into Dougie to bluff that you don't know that you can't trap a ghost type, knowing that Eric's a good enough player to switch here, because if he'd played me, I might not have switched. I might have stayed in with my Aegislash and I might not have died to that Pursuit. I don't know, it depends on his item. But Rob knows Rob knows that Strompfel is a better player than me at this time, still. He knows that what that eject button tech bluffs, and he traps the Aegislash like a fucking don. Like, talk about 4-dimensional chess here. These are GOAT plays. These are this is what I mean about Rob's, like, eccentricity, his inconsistency. Because when he does shit like that, you just have to sit back and be like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. It's crazy. It's crazy. You can see here, look, wait. AG without item. Wait, what? What just happened? So, I don't know. I think Rob... Yeah, I just think he's a G. He's just an absolute G. Like, so good. We're all just like... We don't even know what just happened. Because we're like, how did he switch? You can see here. Even Aquarius, who's a very good player, didn't know this interaction, or at least forgot it in this thing. Did you just bluff that you'd forgotten Arena Trap? I thought, like, Rob had just brought, like, Sand Force or something, and knew that Eric would try and switch, and then would Pursuit Trap. Like, I thought he'd gone that level of chess. Not far off. He trapped without Arena Trap Dougie, Rob, you god. None of this is true. Like, Nico didn't know either. No, he's a ghost type. Oh, and we're all like, we didn't even think of that. We didn't even think of that shit. I didn't know about it, but everyone else just didn't think of it. Ben, of course, great set. Oh, just fire. Out comes the Galissapod on the Necrozma. As I say, that's why I think he didn't want Rocks up to pressure this thing, as we do see an Iron Defense pop off, so it's possible Rob doesn't have a Dark type on his draft, I don't know. It's possible that he was very prepared and very much expecting a stored power set. Then he pivots into the TOGEDEMARU. Now, this was a weird play to me. I don't know if this was a double predicting like a switch into the Suicune or something, or into the Infernape. Wouldn't make much sense. So I don't really know what that play was for. Oh. So I guess here the two things that potentially Eric does is Eric maybe recovers, predicting the first impression, which then, first impression, if you don't know, is a move with priority that works the first turn you're on the field, but not after, so you can only use it once the first turn you hit the field. So Eric recovers, predicting the first impression, fine. Or scouting for it. He might have Leech Life, but it doesn't matter. So Eric could recover there. Eric could Iron Armor, Iron Defense again, or he could Calm Mind if he's a double dance set. Any of those three most likely plays, Rob can encore him into with his TOGEDEMARU. It's unlikely that Eric just goes straight for the attack, because if he takes a big first impression and then kills the Galissapod or forces it out with emergency exit, he could potentially get revenged by something else on the team. For example, like a Life Orb, Latias, Shadow Ball. So again, just an absolute GOAT mid-ground of any play you make scouting at my Galissapod right now, I'm going to be able to encore you into that, because you're only clicking a status move in this situation. These plays are good plays. These plays are good plays. Now he can nuzzle it, and he can keep it encored into this move because he's faster than it. So, oh, this is fire. I forgot how good this game was. Oh my lord. And then he can Super Fang it down. And what can Strompfel do? He's just got to sit there like, I can't, if I switch into anything else, that's getting nuzzled. What do you do here? He gets Encore back into Calm Mind. Like, crazy. Crazy. Oh my lord. I forgot how good this shit was. We've seen the TOGEDEMARU do so much work. Out comes the Kiram. On what I'm guessing is going to be, it's an Iron Head covering that play. I guess Strompfel was expecting another Super Fang and maybe he thought he could get this in. But oh my god, Rob is such a good TOGEDEMARU player. He makes a mid-ground. Basically, the reason that Rob Iron Head's there is the Necrozma's essentially dead. It's paralyzed and trapped into Encore. He doesn't need to keep Super Fanging. He could start just Iron Heading to cover another play that Strompfel might make. It's unlikely Strompfel would go into like Infernape on a potential Nuzzle or Super Fang, and he definitely won't go Suicune on a Super Fang. So I completely get the Iron Head to cover the Kiram, which was his most likely pivot in. We see the Inferno Overdrive pop here as Strompfel loses patience and tries to catch the TOGEDEMARU or just get big damage on like the Galissapod or anything else that would come in. He does get big damage on the Latias. I still think maybe it was a bit early to pop the Z move. I don't know. I don't know what his end game he was going for here is. Maybe not. Maybe the chip is just really valuable if he thinks he's not got Roost on this thing, which he might not have. Although Draco Meteor Hidden Power Steel would be a flame set against this team. Would be ruled by Aegislash, so he's probably got Shadow Ball. Anyway, TOGEDEMARU goes for Toxic as Rob just goes straight into fucking... Oh, sorry, Suicune goes for Toxic as Rob goes straight into TOGEDEMARU. Encores the Suicune into Toxic if he can. Eric makes a really good play and goes into his Infernape to stop the Encore play. Now he's just going to have to Flare Blitz for damage on the Infernape, but now he's getting worn down by Rocks plus recoil from Flare Blitz, and we're seeing how important bouncing those rocks back were, because the Galissapod, the TOGEDEMARU, the Latias, they're all not taking rocks chip, so we're really just seeing like how that early game that Rob made kind of set him up for this later game. Big burn on the Galissapod stops it being able to kind of 1v1 this Suicune. It was always going to get burnt sooner or later. That's the nature of staying in on Scalds. I wouldn't really consider this hacks at all. Strompfel goes for the Protect just to try and store this thing out. Rob's got no reason not to Draco here, just try and break the Suicune. If he Dracos this turn, does it KO, and Strompfel rests, he can always pivot around on the rest, but he's got to basically get his TOGEDEMARU in to break the Suicune. I'm imagining we'll probably see a Protect here from Strompfel, and I think Rob's going to call that. No! Ooh. Strompfel calls Rob to call the Protect and goes for the Skull trying to catch the TOGEDEMARU. Good play. I don't know whether the Draco would have killed him at the range of health he was at. Let's see. He was at... like 20%, and the Draco Meteor did 40, so it could have been a damage roll to kill here. It looks like it would have been a damage roll, so Strompfel calls Rob not to go for the damage roll and to go into TOGEDEMARU on the Protect. Here he just rolls out as he gets nuzzled, and we were going to get to a bit of a slow end game. You guys can see what's happening here anyway. He's just going to be able to leech life through now, and even with the burn, it's going to do too much. Doug Trio can come out finally and just click Earthquake, and it's going to be able to pick up the final 2 KOs. As I say, you can EV it to take a Mach Punch from any Infernape set pretty much, I think. So, yeah, just, I mean, GG to both. Like, Strompfel played well in this game. Like, let's not get anything mixed up. Strompfel played well in this game. He played all his outs. He made some big calls. He tried to stay in this game, and he fought fucking hard to stay in this game. But this was just Rob, like, absolutely popping off. And like I said, Strompfel, in my opinion, like, GOAT level player, like, so good. But Rob just turned up and just went crazy. Like, I still think he got a few turns wrong here. I don't think this was a flawless performance, but it was performance of so many flexes, so many big reads, so many big plays. Oh, and from the early, and they're not just pointless either. Like, that's the thing I want to get through to you guys. If you watch people like Blunder and stuff like that, I like these content creators. I'm not calling them out. The whole like stun it or die mentality, the whole like flex for flexing's sake, great on the ladder, sure. But if you want to be a serious competition player, you want to make the plays like this that not only like look crazy but they work, and they set up an end game that's so important. They all move towards you winning the match. There's no point you just risking win cons because you want to flex, and that's not what Rob did here. Rob played it very safely but aggressively, if that makes sense. I don't know how. It was like measured aggression. It was sensible, logical aggression that always kept his positioning. Oh, such a good performance. Anyway, I could harp on about this game forever, and I hope that that Eric doesn't mind me showing this one too much with him being on the losing end. He'll have to submit a game to me which he thinks is worth where he won. I have some ideas already on that front, but still. Yeah, awesome game, one of my favorites ever. I could watch this replay 5 or 6 times. So good. I'm going to shut up now because I will just be here forever. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know how you guys like this series. I love it. Thank you so much for loafing around with me, and I'll catch you again next time.